Hey, what's up guys? Chelsea, welcome back to Mahoyo or Witch on the Holy Night, sort of. I was made aware of a deleted scene from chapter 7, as you can see on screen. Also thank you Chow Lao for letting me know about the deleted scene, as well as linking me this video by Obese Doge, that covers it pretty much. So yeah, the video is Obese Doge's, credits go to him for like uploading this. And yeah, again, thank you Chow Lao for informing me and sending me the video link. I appreciate it. But anyway, I believe this is like, no, I think this is like a little earlier on in chapter 7, if I had to guess, going off this, because I remember this little bit that's like, because Alice is distracted by like thinking about like having seen Sojiro outside the like library, I think, or something like that. But anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop stalling and yeah, let us get into the video. That is loud. Oh, whoops. You guys didn't have audio. All right. Let's turn that down some. What's bothering her, what she wants to say, what you've been doing just 2 hours earlier. Okay, and this is gonna go over to the library. Whatever it was, she took it with her when she left the table. Okay, now I'm gonna turn the audio down for you guys just a little bit more. It's very loud. 2 hours earlier. After the girl fell asleep, her dreams mostly consisted of childhood memories. Okay. In the northeast of England. In an oak forest covered with fog. In a kingdom of birds and beasts. A land untouched by the modern era that kept humans away even in the 20th century. There, deep within the woods, was the mansion where she was born and raised. Ancient creatures had survived for generations in this little corner of the world. Her venerable, and perhaps foolish ancestors had stubbornly insisted on maintaining its purity, passing this tradition of the first witches down to their descendants. The girl did not exactly know how many centuries or generations of sorcerers have succeeded each other. This knowledge had been passed down the generations without fail until her mother, but Alice only knew what she'd been taught via oral tradition. As a result, no one alive knew how much time has passed since the day her ancestors settled in that land. The tradition had already been completely lost, and both the horses with a horn in the middle of their foreheads, and the birds that flapped their wings in a rainbow-colored sky, had already disappeared without a trace at the time she was born. Instead, what she had was a collection of modern furniture. Furniture that was neither befitting those woods' legacy, nor the rooms it sat in, and though the fabric was far too rough for a young woman's skin, they were still not wholly uncomfortable to sit on. Good. The collection was her inheritance granted to her mother and then to her, both old-fashioned women from a bygone era. She knew the furniture had been a gift from a man from nearby Manchester who visited her mother once a week, and this pleased her childish heart in some way, stoking a sense of nostalgia. Even that now has been lost forever. The flamboyant chauffeured Cadillac, the flower garden worthy of the castle, all those adults filling the space with life. Everything disappeared like mist. Or perhaps it disappeared into the mist. Perhaps. No longer could Alice see the smiling faces of her parents, her mother's filled with happiness, and her father's sweet as a honeycomb. The woods had never tolerated such things. Now there are only questions. The numerous extraneous elements inappropriate to the villa. The extravagant items, none of which she'd ever wanted. The gifts which only inspired her disgust. In what confusion did she touch them with so lovingly? Okay, so some background into her like life in England, a little, at least a little bit anyway. Her closed eyelids moved imperceptibly, an afternoon before the sun sets. The girl was called back to the waking world, not by the sound reached her ears, but by those the mansion caused. A small bluish bird piped up, perhaps worried by the painful-looking way she squeezed her eyes shut. Her vision was still blurred with sleep. How odd. You look just like a bird I met in my dreams a long time ago. Yeah, since this is the PC version, it's not really voiced. Speaking these words, she felt nostalgia, I think is what it said. Upon hearing the word bird, the robin frolicked as if proud to be the bird of which she spoke of. Take it easy. I don't remember it very well, but I'm sure it wasn't you that I dreamt of. Rather than that, what does that sound? It's a good question. Sounds like something cooking? Like on a frying pan? Still cooler than a disappointed bird, she demanded her answer, and then she realized I had drawn her out of her slumber. It was an annoying grating noise ringing out from the mansion's rear court. Oh no, it's from the courtyard, not the kitchen. That's weird. The robin, who knew perfectly well what the origin of the noise was, proudly reported it to his mistress. As soon as the girl heard her answer, her drowsiness suddenly faded away. So that's it. It's not enough for him to turn my stomach every time I see him, but that boy must also torture my ears. The words she leaked out in vain contained a gratuitous personal feelings that had nothing to do with her duties as a mage, I think. I didn't see the last word. A pump that had remained unused for a long time was the source of the ruckus. There in the Kunji Estate's courtyard, a slim silhouette was visible against the trees as the day crept closer to sundown. Glancing furtively around the trees, the figure was gathering everything from plastic bags to an illegally abandoned bicycle. At times, the figure attempted to mend broken tree branches, while other times he was resolutely something them. Oh, it is voiced. Oh, okay, I think he must have copied over the sound files from the translated version. Perhaps it was one of the inhabitants of the mansion while dogs got into the mansion storage shed, torn open some trash bags and made an enormous mess. Holding in one hand the bamboo broom he brought with him, Sojo set himself to picking them up, I think. I don't know. Alice approached the figure under the pretense of taking a morning walk. She took such walks once a month at most, but she specifically had a reason for taking this one. Shizuki. Or Shizuki. The boy returned her greeting lightheartedly. Alice surveyed the trees around her with a cold gaze. Okay, so yeah, does have a voice, just not hers. No, I'm not going anywhere. And what, may I ask, are you doing out here? I thought you'd be coming home from school with Aoko later. Where is she? I see. But did you warn her that you'd be coming back early? Okay, so some of it's voiced, some isn't. Okay. Sojo stumbled over his words with obvious unease. Okay. Of course he counted on scrupulously keeping that promise. However, looking back now, perhaps what she meant was not to return to the mansion before 5 o'clock. Yeah, possibly. Aoko and I don't talk about you especially, so you don't have to worry. That's good. What exactly are you doing here? I thought you and Aoko have final exams starting today, right? Shouldn't you be studying? Right. Apparently the boy was not yet familiar with the concept of cramming before an exam. He would be in a few hours from now, however. Oh, I think Xiaolao in one of the comments said that this was actually... It's meant to be when she saw him outside the window of the library, right? I think. And she was like, what is he doing? Like, I think it changed a little bit. I think this is when she saw him outside the library picking stuff up. Whereas here it was she was sleeping in the sunroom or drawing room. So it's a little bit different, like changed up a little bit in the port. Okay.
森の荒れ具合が気になってこの丘どのくらいほったらかしだったんだ
A long time ago. Alice didn't respond to him. Yeah, fair. She had lived here for about 3 years now, but she felt no need to tell him that. Perhaps oblivious to Alice's silence, Sojiro brazenly continued picking up trash without any interruptions in his rhythm. From the girl's point of view, it was impudence. You. I mean, to be fair, he's trying to be helpful. Get out of my sight immediately. The sentence would continue, her voice full of desire to extinguish his life. His outcry interrupted her before she could finish. Maybe don't do that. At Sojiro's foot laid a rusty mass of metal, half buried in the ground. Was it a bear trap? He inspected the dangerous object before him with a befuddled expression. Apparently, he had no idea that it was a common trap used to catch wild animals. That's a bear trap. We used to have a stray dog problem up here. It probably dates back to that time. Someone from the town must have forgotten about it. Yeah. Pretty cruel, huh? Yes, I have heard that when an animal walks on it, the jaws close with a spring mechanism. Though I've never actually seen one in action, come to think of it. Is she gonna tell him to step on it? They're usually buried in leaves. or like other such foliage. In response to his naive observation, Alice nodded in agreement. She had not seen such devices since she was a child, but she remembered harboring the same doubts back then. Alice knew very well how intelligent wild animals could be. So why, despite this, did they fall into such obvious traps and let themselves be captured by humans? Again, they're usually hidden. Some people use food as bait. Alice unwittingly let slip. Yeah, after that, desperate. And again, usually it's covered in leaves. Yes, but it depends on the circumstances and timing. If they were starving, not even an animal would be able to resist the temptation. The worst that could happen is injuring one leg. Even if the animal recognizes the danger, suffering an injury to its leg is far better than dying from starvation. Yeah, I suppose. Indeed. Even if death awaited them at the hands of a hunter, the prospect of dying from hunger was unbearable. Especially if it were a mother who had to feed her young. A female dog would be willing to sacrifice a leg and risk being killed by a hunter in exchange for some food for her pups. Maybe it was a decision they knew was dangerous from the start. It was a simple story. The animal would choose to sacrifice a leg to survive, and the result is they're killed. Yeah, humans are no different. If they could survive a critical situation by sacrificing one arm, I think anyone would make the same choice. Affirmed the girl as if trying to convince herself. I mean, I would have to be really desperate. But I suppose. Okay, well, okay, I don't know actually. I feel like if I was like in a really desperate situation and someone was like, you can have like 6 months worth of food if you let me cut off your arm, I would consider it, to be honest. Like if I was like broke, homeless, like, living on a, like, if someone offered me like a small home, maybe like I don't know, 10 by 10, not maybe a little big, like a 20 by 20, like small like box like house and like 6 months worth of food, I would probably take it if they paid the medical bill for getting my stump of an arm treated, so that way I didn't bleed out. Then yeah, yeah. But again, it would have to be like a very dire circumstance, like extremely dire. The second time Alice was interrupted by a native voice. Different in what sense?
片足を犠牲にして助かろうってところかな。動物には無駄がない。あれこれ考える知恵もない。 だから俺たちみたいに亡くなったら別のもので補うなんて選択がそもそもないんだ。
Yeah,
動物にとって片足をなくすことは命をなくすことと変わらない。無駄がないというあり方は何も失えないあり方なんだと思う。動物はみんな少しでも自分の体が欠けたらもう生きていけないことを知っている。
yeah, as far as like wild animals go, yeah.
だからこの罠を見てそれでも進もうとした時、彼らには足ぐらいなくなってもなんて思いはないんじゃないかな。初めから助かる気はない。片足を失うと認めた時点で彼らは自分の命そのものを差し出している。
Yeah, it makes sense. It was far from the response she'd expected him to give, but she found herself nodding nonetheless. This boy was not born in a city. He grew up in a mountain village where people had coexisted with nature. His previous life was not a society that armed itself with civilization to protect the weak and elderly. Until recently, his life did not consist of comfortable and inventive days, but of a difficult coexistence with nature. It was no wonder that for Sojiro, a wound was undoubtedly something that remained forever. Yeah, that's definitely true. Otherwise, he would not be able to describe the way wild animals live in the way he did. He had a point. Yeah, I mean, I can't say he's wrong. A horse who was rendered unable to run by a leg wound no longer performed the function of a horse, and thus was no longer considered as such by human society. Once a wild animal loses its ability to run, though it may still live, it loses its sense of significance to the world.
一度でも獲物を捕まえたことがあるのかな。
Maybe. Who knows? I didn't place it. At his friendly tone, Alice responded tensely. And though she'd been the one to strike up a conversation, she still found the bear trap far less of a nuisance than Sojiro himself. Okay, he's cleaning up your property, and you're like, oh, he's a nuisance. Okay. In any case, what are you doing tending to the forest? Is this your attempt to get on my good side? Sparks of hostility shone in the girl's eyes. She detested being flattered to, and decided that the moment Sojiro did so would be the moment she disposed of him. She passed off ungratefulness. She passed off breaking up with her. Wait, what? She even passed off betrayal. The one thing she absolutely could not forgive was being told words spoken insincerely. For this girl, that was the worst insult.
森の手入れをするとなんでそっちの機嫌が良くなるんだ。
Wait, but I thought that was his plan. Wait.
二人ともこの森はあんまり好きじゃないんだろう。森が綺麗になって気分が良くなるのは俺だけだと思うけど。
Okay. Again, okay, wait. That's weird though, because I mean, I guess maybe not. I don't know. I kind of thought because I mean, maybe he didn't specifically say getting the broom to clean up was a way of getting on her good side. I guess not. I don't know, maybe that was just my own mistaken assumption of why he was gonna do it. Okay. Also, you know, Chella said that they cut this because it didn't fit with Natsu's story. I think having the thing of him like wanting to get a broom and whatnot, it would actually make more sense if this was in. So I don't see why they would cut this. I don't know, this seems like kind of important to me anyway. Well, not maybe important, but like I think it actually makes like trying to like slot it in definitely at least to me makes it seem like it flows better. I don't know, personally. However, this boy seemed not to have understood Alice's hostility in the least. One moment. It is true that I have never cleaned the forest, but that does not mean I do not cherish it. In my own way, I care about it. Doesn't have the time? It's too lazy? I don't know. I simply do not dote on it even though I care for it. But I regret it. From now on, taking care of the forest will be part of my daily routine. That being said, you're strange too, you know. What interest do you have in these woods? I mean, he grew up in a place like this, one that was unmarred by civilization, so...
森は大抵好きだし、
Yeah.
この丘ちょっと故郷の山に似ているし、好きだった子にそっくりな子が困ってたら、なんとかしてあげようと思わないか?
Okay, so I like that because he mentioned a few times he doesn't think of this as a mountain. He's like, this is not scary enough to be a mountain, and it reflects it here where he says hill instead. So I don't know. This is the minor little detail that I like. I don't know. It's super random, but it's like it adds consistency to like everything Sojiro is like thought.
なんというか人間として。
Yeah. The last sentence was enough to stir Alice's heart. I'm not convinced. So being raised in the mountains makes you want to clean up the backyard. This is all an effort to butter me up, isn't it? Why would you feel so attached to an otherwise unremarkable wood like this? It doesn't even have any oak trees.
別にそれでいいじゃないか。森は普通にあるだけでいいんだ。何もおかしくない。綺麗なものを綺麗と思うのはいいことだと思うんだが。
Like when you recognized Alice's beauty when you first met her? Well, in a not life or death scenario? Even when you don't have a clear reason to do so, are you telling me that you would love all the forests in the world regardless? In this context, you have no reason to love this wood. There is no connection between you and this forest.
好きってことに理由は必要なのか?
Well, yes, no, I guess not. Eh? The voice spoke in the tone of someone who is intrigued by something. Actually, you know what? Thinking about it though, I guess I do see the point of why they said it didn't fit with the story. Because that would mean they would have had to have spoken before his attack, like before the sleeping bit, which would be a little inconsistent, I guess. I don't know. That's the only way I see it. Is like this would add some inconsistency in like his attempt to talk with her, because they're technically talking right now, although not about what. I don't know. I don't know. He was not rhetorically reporting the love to something reasons. Rather, he was asking whether all irrational feelings should be considered false. Her boiling heart gradually cooled down. Ashamed of her own harsh tone, the girl took a step back. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess this is kind of inconsistent a little bit with like Alice's character and like reactions towards Sojiro. At least to a degree. Okay. Awkward silence. Alice looked for words that would save her face. As long as it remained silent, their positions were reversed. And yet, this was her forest, her world. At the thought that leaving the last word to such a wretched human being would jeopardize her honor as a witch, the girl bit her lip.
ところで、これは残しておく?
The bear trap? For his part, Sojiro, completely unaware of the storm in the girl's soul, extended his hand towards the trap. It is of no use to me. I thought I told you it is not mine.
そっか。なら回収しよう。もう錆びて動かないけど、犬の歯みたいで物騒だ。残しておくと夢に見そうだし。
Okay. Sojiro lifted up the heavy pile of iron with a loud exhale of breath. He proceeded to walk over to the shade of a nearby tree and drop the trap onto a strange object. Shizuki, where did you get that trailer?
どこって、町のお店だよ。もしかしたらと思って買ってきて正解だった。ここのところ、どうしてか悪い予感だけは当たるんだ。
Yeah. I suppose you are. The odd master of good deeds began to proudly pull that trailer of his. Seeing his smile, Alice finally understood the extent of which it was a waste of time to try to argue with this boy. Yeah, he'll just do his own thing. It's my own fault for trying to talk to him. I should have known better. Turning her back on Sojiro, the girl headed back towards the mansion. Alko had been right all along. Thinking with regret about how much time she wasted, Alice promised to herself to completely and utterly ignore the boy. Rude, but I guess fair enough, I guess. And yeah, that's that. Okay. So yeah, that was interesting. Also, ignore the fact that my recommended is all like VTubers. Yeah, there's no reason for that. But yeah, yeah, I actually liked that a lot. In a way, I feel like that did fit in with the story, but also didn't. Like there were like conflicting things, and like yeah, I can understand why they felt it didn't fit enough and they cut it out. But you know, that was definitely an interesting little tidbit. Cause yeah, I was very upset at the like what he was doing outside that caught her attention so much. Like why like that was cut out. I was like what? So you'll just like start that line of like you start that like scenario, but you don't finish it. And it just annoyed me. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for watching. And once again, thank you Chowlow for informing me and linking me this. And of course, shout out to Obese Doge who uploaded it. Yeah, again, shout out to him for the upload. So you know, yeah, I don't know. I'm awkward. I don't know how to do things like this. So yeah. Anyway, I've rambled too much. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later when we get back with the main game. From Mahoyo. Anyway, yeah. Later.